All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready for tag team competition here. Mike Atkins, the referee. The Patriots, former United States Tag Team Champions, in their minds still have a big score to settle with the Young Pistols. And it will be Firebreaker Chip starting out for his combination. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, Big Ron Simmons still to come. Look forward to seeing the former Florida State Football All-American back in competition. Of course, he returned to WCW this past Sunday at Starrcade 91. Jim Boss and Greg Sawyer to challenge the Patriots here. It's Boss in there with Firebreaker Chip. Good shoulder block. Side headlock and a head scissor now. Firebreaker Chip takes both men down. And now the Patriots with Big Time Champion delivering a double clothesline. Asserting themselves early here in this contest on the pro. Makes his way back up to the apron. Hope you fans that saw Starrcade enjoyed it. Quite a night in the Scope in Norfolk. And great offensive teamwork by the Patriots here. And you can count for sure that the next time they wrestle the Young Pistols, that it will be a very fast-paced, offensive-minded event if you get the opportunity to see that rematch. Top toe hold and a leg drop. I think the Pistols are perhaps in for rather emotional sobering the next time they take on the Patriots, because Champion and Chip certainly have their focus set on one thing, and that's regaining the U.S. Tag Championship. Certainly hope you fans will stay tuned. It's beyond description what happened to Sting at the hands of the Dangerous Alliance, as I mentioned, specifically ravishing Rick Rude. Champion caught Boss coming in, and Boss able to make the exchange now with Greg Sawyer. Sawyer, a very muscular, stocky athlete. Champion is on that huge side. He's about 6'5", probably 275 or 280. Firebreaker Chip somewhat more compactly built. Good heel trip there. And now into the hammerlock. Firebreaker Chip controlling the action now for his tag team combination. As we'll be showing you in the Wrestling News Network how Jushin Thunder Liger became the WCW Light Heavyweight Champion. That exclusive footage and other WCW news with Eric Bischoff later in the hour, as Champion and Firebreaker Chip continue to control the match offensively. Have settled it down now after that series of offensive moves. Champion using his leverage in addition to his strength advantage here. Very expertly makes the exchange now. Firebreaker Chip with a double axe handle on the tricep. And now working on the wrist. Again using the leg for a takedown. If this were amateur rules, the Patriots would certainly be ahead on points at this point in time in the contest. Tag made. Here comes Firebreaker Chip back, or excuse me, Todd Champion back in. Firebreaker Chip leaving, and that didn't last long. They're making some very frequent tags here, wrestling the match either in the center of the ring or in their half, which is very sound strategy. Firebreaker Chip just ran through Sawyer that time. Side headlock. Champion, the legal man, delivers that flying elbow. Caught Sawyer flush, and that'll be all.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the match, the Patriots!
Fans, when we come back, he's returning. He's Big Ron Simmons, and he is next.
Wrestling fans, the following tag team event. It is set for one fall. Introducing first, from New York City, weighing 290 pounds, heavy metal, Van Hammer. His tag team partner from the Northwoods, weighing 275 pounds, Big Josh. And their opponents, total combined weight, 459 pounds, St. Louis, Missouri, Jack Savage. And from East Ridge, Tennessee, Jim Boss.
All right, back with you now on Worldwide. Glad you can make us part of your week. And the superstars of WCW. As we take a look at what has to be a most, I don't know if I want to say unusual, but a different tag team. Big Josh and Heavy Metal Van Hammer teaming up. You saw them come to the ring, one with a guitar and one with a stick. There'll be no jumping these guys before they get to the ring. They got the weapons. And Boss, as we go back to a neutral corner.
I'm a little bit stronger than you thought I was.
Trying to intimidate Josh. And the big woodsman from the Pacific Northwest, who has developed quite a wrestling style, we know has quite a temper about it. Pick up, wow, belly to back. Pick up again, on Savage, belly to back. And now Heavy Metal coming in. Fans, don't forget comments from Sting on the situation that you saw right here last week, coming up next. So stay with us. Van Hammer and Big Josh, the first time that I've seen them together on this program. Big Josh has a lot of power and a lot of strength. And he has an upcoming match with Mr. Hughes that many of the promoters are talking about. It'll be the power of Mr. Hughes and the power of Big Josh. And of course, Heavy Metal Van Hammer has had more than his share of problems with Cactus Jack. Savage now. And one blow and Savage goes tumbling down. Kind of like Paul Bunyan in one swipe and the trees go down. Full arm dragon twist from Heavy Metal Van Hammer. At 6'5". Close to 300 pounds. Heavy Metal, who has gathered a tremendous fan support, whom he calls his hammerheads. And now, with a great deal of fire and vigor, an elbow drop right on target. You know, it gets down. We talk so much about the charisma of the athletes. It gets down to knowing how to execute wrestling maneuvers. And that's how you become successful. The slingshot, it's called the Hammer Rocks. On to Savage. He's not going to get up from that.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winners of the match, the team of Big Josh and Heavy Metal Van Hammer.
Tremendous win here on Worldwide Wrestling. Heavy Metal Van Hammer and Big Josh in our first look at these two men together. Your winners, Heavy Metal Van Hammer, along with Big Josh with the Hammer Rocks. And we'll have more right after the Wrestling News Network.
Introducing first, from Macon, Georgia, weighing 235 pounds. He says he's the prettiest in World Championship Wrestling, Johnny B. Bad. His opponent from East Ridge, Tennessee, 230 pounds, Jim Boss.
Johnny B. Bad. Can you imagine in one program? Going from Nikita Koloff to Johnny B. Bad. I mean, like in one segment here. And there is glitter. I mean, there's glitter everywhere. And confetti. And dollar bills. And I don't know. I'm afraid to ask what that is he's throwing out. Calling flamboyant, outrageous, talented, whatever. His opponent, Jim Boss. And Johnny B. Bad, when he walks into the ring, is the center of attention. All right. Johnny B. Bad, a man who has been really making a lot of noise in the light heavyweight division of World Championship Wrestling. And as we are now in the month of April, a lot of great things are going on in WCW. I know Johnny B. Bad has his sights set on Flying Brian and that light heavyweight title. And you're talking about a contrast in styles. Bad and Flying Brian certainly approach this sport in two entirely different ways. Flying Brian, there's no question, and I know Flying Brian quite well. He's a very determined athlete, very focused. He's all business. Johnny B. Bad is the complete opposite. He loves to have a good time, but they both are similar in that they're both very successful in this sport. Left hand to the chest. High back body drop. Both use the top ropes, although Flying Brian a little bit more extensively than Johnny B. Bad. Of course, Johnny B. and his trademark is the tutti frutti, as he calls it, the kiss that doesn't miss. Pretty effective spinning elbows also. Looking out of the fence. Also in the ring, when Flying Brian comes to the ring, there's a tremendous amount of intensity. I talk about being focused, but he really gets the fans behind him, and the same can be said for Johnny B. Bad. Johnny B. now. Climbing the ropes. Look at this. Whoa! All the way across the ring. He didn't even want to pin him with it. The high knee was on target. Dancing, and lights out. Boss couldn't even rise up.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your winner, Johnny B. Bad.
Complete domination for Johnny B. Bad over Jim Boss. He's going to flap on the kiss that doesn't miss. And take a look at this move all the way across the ring. And then the left hand. See you later. Your winner, Johnny B. Bad. More to come. You're on Worldwide right after this.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest is a special handicap match. Introducing first at 445 pounds from the Colorado Rockies, Big Vader. Entering his opponent wearing a combined weight of 457 pounds. First from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be John Collins and Jim Boss, who together outweigh Van Vader about 12 pounds.
Just awesome, Jim. An awesome specimen here.
Vader 6'5", maybe 6'6", 450 pounds. 445, I think he weighed in here. But when you're that big, what's 5 pounds? Vader is a magnificent power wrestler. And I know that when he and Sting meet for the world title, Mr. Fry, that Sting has got to do whatever he can in my opinion, to prolong the match. He gets into a power match situation with this big monster, and we're going to have a new world champion.
Well, the problem, of course, with Van Vader is that he's such a good athlete as well as being so huge. And when you combine those two attributes, it's just an unbelievable package.
Fans, don't forget the big one tomorrow night in the Omni with 5 championships. Oh, to be decided. Tremendous clothesline. That event in the Omni starts tomorrow night at 7:30. Sting certainly seems to be ready for the challenge, but how can you prepare for a man this big? Nothing but raw power. He doesn't try to finesse anyone. Mr. Fry, a lot of fans say that Sting has got to do what he can to survive the early going of the contest, and that's going to be a tall order.
Well, with somebody this size, it's going to have to be that the farther that Sting can extend the match, the better off he's going to be. His only hope may be to extend this long enough to really have stamina come into play here.
Power bomb by Big Van Vader. I've been around a lot of athletes, and I've never been around any as powerful as this big man who has beat 2 men very easily.
I've got to show winner, Big Van Vader.
This man is awesome. There's no doubt about it. We'll take another look. High impact moves. Big Van Vader and Sting will wrestle for the heavyweight championship of the world. And fans, we could be looking right there at the new, and the next, I should say, WCW heavyweight champion. The power bomb by Big Van Vader, easily defeating 2 men. And when we come back, our focus will be on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Ravishing Rick Rude after this timeout.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest, it is set for one fall. Introducing first, from Marietta, Georgia, weighing 234 pounds, Marcus Alexander Bagwell. His opponent from Eastridge, Tennessee, 234 pounds, Jim Boss.
Okay, Marcus Bagwell and Jim Boss, the strong youngster from Tennessee, set to go. And a very special hello and thank you to all of our great fans who joined us for Beach Blast just last Saturday. And what an event it was. We have a new light heavyweight champion, Scotty Flamingo.
That's right, Scotty Flamingo defeated the former champion Flying Brian Pillman in what many people, Tony Schiavone, considered an upset.
Yeah, it was.
I personally didn't think so much. You know, Flamingo's won some big matches. He got to be #1 contender by beating people.
Good point. So we take a look at Bagwell, a young man who certainly may at one time compete for that light heavyweight title. I would think that would be a great matchup. But right now he's got to contend with Jim Boss. And this youngster has a lot of power.
Well, Bagwell's come up one thing about him. He doesn't duck anybody. And the thing about him today is he can't use being a rookie as an excuse anymore if he does get beat. He's been around now a little bit over a year, and you got to start putting him into the category of being somewhat a veteran. And I think, you know, maybe a year down the line, he could well contend for that light heavyweight title here in WCW.
Randy Anderson, our referee, as Bagwell. For a man his age, and of course, like you said, Jess, he can't be called a rookie, but he has a tremendous amount of confidence. Of course, that has to be attributed to all those big-time matchups he had in his rookie year.
That's right. He lost a couple of matches because he was a rookie, and he took on a lot of veterans in that ring. But a year or two from now, he's liable to upset those veterans that beat him at one point as being a rookie.
Graduated from Sprayberry High School, the Yellow Jackets, in suburban Atlanta, Marietta, Georgia.
Sprayberry?
There you go, Sprayberry High School.
What is a sprayberry? Is that like you squeeze the berry and it sprays you in the face?
No, that's just a certain part of the neighborhood. It's called Sprayberry, part of the neighborhood.
Sprayberry, part of the neighborhood.
I guess.
I guess because I'm a Yankee, Schiavone, I'm not used to that type of term.
You're not.
You know, up in the north, we have high schools called Roosevelt High School, South High School, things like that, not Sprayberry.
What a move by Jim Boss out of desperation. It was a spine-buster type maneuver. And Boss now right on the back, to the midsection. The Irish whip to the near side. sunset flip, got him. 1, 2, and only a 2 count. Bagwell.
And Bagwell getting roughed up here by Boss. I'll tell you what, Bagwell's got no slouch in the ring, and Jim Boss, he's a veteran, and he's going to test this kid real hard.
Oh, he ran right to the foot. Bagwell, defensive wrestling right there. And one more time. Boss made a mistake by going to the corner for a second time, and now Bagwell hooks Jim Boss. Bridge suplex. We got a winner.
Beautiful move.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your winner, Marcus Alexander Bagwell.
Bagwell gets the win here on Worldwide, Jesse Ventura.
And just an excellent move right there by Marcus Alexander Bagwell. Takes him over the suplex. Beautiful bridge. Locks the wrist. Nowhere for Boss to go. 1, 2, 3, and a big win for Bagwell.
Still more to come on Worldwide. Fans, stay right where you are.
Ladies and gentlemen, the following contest, it is set for one fall. Introducing first, from Odessa, Florida, weighing 303 pounds, Danny Spivey. His opponent from Eastridge, Tennessee, weighing 231 pounds, Jim Boss.
All right, Dangerous Dan Spivey and Jim Boss set to go in this event. Dangerous Dan Spivey, certainly one of the most violent men that we have in this sport, and one of the biggest.
You know, Tony, Jim Boss is no little man himself, but he looks like a little Lilliputian out there besides Spivey. I mean, Spivey just towers over his opponents, and he comes on with such brutal attacks. You'd have to wonder what puts him in such a bad attitude before that bell rings.
Going right after Boss. You talked about Boss being a great athlete. He really is. He's quite a softball player, we understand as well, from Tennessee. And he keeps in shape, and he's been in WCW for a couple years now, very successful. But he's run into Dangerous Dan Spivey, another man who has ambitions of being world heavyweight champion. When he returned to WCW, after much success in Japan, he talked about being the next world champion. Right now, a man he's very familiar with has the title, Big Van Vader.
Well, I can't say I particularly admire his ring style, but I do admire the fact that he is so intense. He doesn't seem to take anything lightly. He's taking this battle to Jim Boss like he's going after the world title right now. And he's definitely sending out a message in my mind that he'd be a worthy contender for any title.
Boss, notice how Boss just tried to move out of the way with all he had right there, but Spivey just, what you call kicking a man when he's down, literally. To the other side. Oh, wow, ahead of steam, the big guy. Former collegiate football star, University of Georgia. And he came through that like he was coming through an offensive line. A pickup, and there's the power bomb on the Boss. Hooks him. Awesome win for Spivey.
Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the match, Danny Spivey.
He seems like one of those athletes that can literally do anything he wants to. Now, Missy Hyatt is standing by. We understand she has some dirt on Medusa. And Dangerous Dan Spivey gets the win.
Let's take a look here in slow motion. Spivey perfected the powerbomb, and he drives Jim Boss with all his weight and all his momentum down hard in that match. This can knock you out, much less cost a 1, 2, 3. Boss is finished.
Coming up next, Dr. S. Steve Williams and Terry Bam Bam Gordy in action. But right now, here's Missy Hyatt.